So it's been a few weeks or months of a brand new weight loss transformation. Everything's been going well, you've been losing weight, but recently you've just noticed the scale weight's had about as much movement as Stephen Hawking's face, and you're feeling a bit maybe frustrated and discouraged. Well, that's a situation I've been in plenty of times. So in this video I'm going to give some advice of how to go over this weight loss plateau. The first thing you need to do is start lowering your calories, which I know is like being told you're adopted, it's the news you don't want to hear, but you have to think of it like this, because you know you are losing weight, there's less of you now, burning less calories. So let's say, for example, you walk to the train station. Before, when you were at your heaviest, to maybe 300 pounds, for example, in a 10-minute walk you were burning off 100 calories. But now you're 270 pounds, and that same 10-minute walk to the train station is now only burning 60 calories off. And this is because it's taking less energy to do the exact same movements, which will impact your BMR. And you don't have to drastically now cut your calories because of this. Let's say if you were losing weight on 2,500 calories, you don't have to slash it to like 1,800 or anything like that. Go from 2,500 to 2,300 maybe. Continue to weigh yourself, continue doing your general daily movements, and see if the weight then does come down. And the second thing would be not being patient enough. Let's say at the start, when you first start losing weight, you lose a lot of weight quite quickly, but that's because you're losing a lot of water, which sets high expectations of losing, 3 or 4 pounds a week. It feels great and stuff, but that progress will eventually start falling off because you haven't got as much water to lose. So then you might be down to 2 pounds per week. Then you might start thinking, I'm doing something wrong, which you're not. You're still losing weight, you're losing fat. You don't have to panic and start reducing your calories even more. Just hit the same 3 to 4 pounds a week goal mark. But let's say, for example, if you have legitimately hit a weight loss plateau, it's been a couple of weeks and there's been no movement on the scale. What I'll do personally is, when my weight hasn't moved, I'll reduce my calories by 200 at the maximum. Then I'll continue to weigh myself, and if the weight then drops off, I know I'm back into a deficit. You don't have to instantly just restrict the amount of calories you are having. Keep the progress slow and gradual. The third thing I'll go over is overeating on the weekends. From Monday to Friday, you're really good, it's really going well. But as soon as the weekend rolls around, you're having a lot of fast food, having a lot of drinks, and those calories can add up very quickly and turn your deficit into maintenance. And I'm not saying to completely wipe all these calories out you have on the weekends, but it's just something to be mindful of if you are going out. So something you can try doing is, if, let's say for example, you're going out on Sunday and you're losing calories on 2,000 calories and you're losing £1 a week because of that, you can go from 2,000 calories to 1,900 from Monday to Saturday, which then that will lead to an extra 100 calorie deficit. Then on that Sunday you can eat 2,600 calories, which gives you a bit more leeway to overeat on a certain day, even though you've got an event coming up. And by doing that, you'll still be in a £1 per week deficit. The fourth thing that could be impacting your calorie deficit is an increase of stress or a lack of sleep. This is because this will lead to a hormone called ghrelin increasing, making us want to eat more. And I think it's estimated on a daily basis, if you have a lack of sleep, you can eat an extra 385 calories per day, which can quickly turn your deficit into maintenance. The fifth thing that could be impacting your calorie deficit is actually doing too much cardio, impacting your NEAT. And NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So a real life example of this would be, let's say you're doing thousands of steps per week, you're doing hours on the stationary bike or swimming, whatever sort of cardio you're doing so much cardio, you're fatigued in your day-to-day life. And let's say before, if you have to go to the shops or anything, that might be a 20-minute walk. Because you're doing so much cardio in other aspects, you don't want to then do that walk because you're so fatigued and tired. And in that 20-minute walk, you might have been able to burn an extra 150 calories off. And those 150 calories you're not burning because instead of doing that walk, you took the bus or you just drove there instead. So what I'd recommend is not to do so much amount of cardio, you're just going to be fatigued and exhausted all the time. And instead, taper down a bit of that cardio and start increasing your NEAT. Just do a bit more movement throughout the day and those calories will still add up. Another thing you could do to make sure you're still in a calorie deficit is actually weigh yourself more. So let's create a scenario where you're someone who weighs yourself one time a week, and that once a week is on a Monday. But on the weekend before that Monday weigh-in, you've gone out for the weekend, you're drinking, having a good amount of food. And by the time that Monday then rolls around, you step on a scale and you're 6 pounds up from the previous week. And that'll make you panic, like a nonce walking past a nursery who's on tag. And you might want to quit the diet there and then and just get rid of all your progress. You don't feel like it's worth it. Well, that isn't the case. And let's say you weighed yourself on that Monday and you're 6 pounds up, but then you weigh yourself on the Tuesday, staying in your calorie deficit, still hitting your cardio goals, and maybe the weight stays the same on that Tuesday. But on Wednesday there's a drop, then Thursday there's a drop, and Friday, and so on and so forth. The weight keeps on dropping down. This is because you're losing that water retention you had. The food that was sitting in your stomach is now gone. and now you're probably at your weight where you were before that weekend. So weighing yourself a bit more consistently will allow you to look over the entire week and actually be able to see how much weight you actually are losing or gaining. In my own experience, I weigh myself 7 days a week, which allows me to look across the entire week and to cross out the highs and cross out the lows and take that middle number, which is the median weight. Because there's so many reasons for daily weight fluctuations, such as water retention, food sitting in your stomach, salt and sodium levels can impact your daily weight. So actually weighing myself across the entire week allows me to have a good overview of the week and see what the actual weight is. And the final reason it could be that you're not losing weight is because you're underestimating just how much you're eating. I think it's estimated that overweight people can underestimate how much they're having, around about 40%. So if you are someone that's not tracking their food with an app or with a food scale, this could be the reason why you're not losing weight. Some examples of this could be eating healthy foods that still have a lot of calories in them. So stuff like nuts, stuff like peanut butter and oils. Nuts, for example, a handful of nuts can still contain hundreds of calories. Same with peanut butter. On the label, they might say, one spoonful is 150 calories, but if you actually weigh that out, you might have actually taken 2 spoonfuls, which is 300 calories gone just like that. Another example could be dried fruits. For example, 100 grams of dried fruit apple would be 243 calories compared to an actual apple, which for 100 grams is only around about 60 calories. So this is where you could be going wrong in your calorie deficit, overeating foods that are healthy but are still calorie dense. And I'm not saying to completely cut these sort of foods out, but you can just convert to the lower calorie alternatives to them. So just like the fruit we just said, instead of having the dried fruit, just eat the normal fruit. Instead of the full calorie dense oils, you can just convert to the 1 calorie spray oil. So in conclusion, the reason why you're not losing weight will always come down to if you're in a calorie deficit or not, but there are reasons to go along with why you might not be in a calorie deficit. So hopefully some of the advice in this video can help and put you back on track in your deficit.